Hi, welcome back to the field. It's August 10th. We're going to spend most of the time today talking about spider mites. We've really seen a resurgence of those over the last 10, 14 days. We talked about it a little bit last week. Now we're getting into the middle part of August where I mentioned last week, we usually get to that August 20th, week of the August 20th, and we think that maybe we can make it to the end, that just natural, decrease in temperatures at night, also heavy morning dews will kind of help us kind of slow down that population growth of mites. So we're out in a field today here evaluating spider mites. When we, thinking about the time in the calendar, August 10th, what the weather looks like at the end of the week, it looks like we got potential rain, cloudy weather, temperatures in the 80s. At the end of the 10-day, 7 or 10-day outlook, we're 80s, maybe low 90s. So in the foreseeable future, we don't have a lot of 100-degree days, which is good for obvious reasons. But it does, most importantly, it slows down spider mite generations and how fast they go through them. So when we're evaluating things here this week, I would urge people to look at those bottom leaves in the canopy. See how many leaves we got desiccated. So you can see over here, we do have one or two leaves that are kind of really starting to desiccate because of the mite populations on them. This was an example of a lower leaf. You can start to see the color discoloration, and probably a few days from being kind of more desiccated looking and dried out. So when we start to see this on the bottom 3 or 4 leaves, I probably would still consider treatment at that point. We maybe don't need a product that has any kind of residual. We may want to just go with a dimethate type thing that will knock those mites down for a week or so, save a little bit of money. And then just basically bridge that gap between now and when those temperatures help us out with slowing down those mite generations. So this was an example on an ear leaf that I pulled. So you obviously can see when we got mite colonies ear leaf or above ear leaf, we really need to look and try to figure out what the population, how active they are. So you can see here, we do have mite colonies somewhat active along the midrib, probably still a week or so away from desiccating this leaf, but this is the ear leaf, right? So we need to protect it as much as possible. So in this example, if I have a couple leaves desiccated at the bottom of the canopy, these bigger colonies on the ear leaf or above, I'm probably going to have to go ahead and recommend treatment in that scenario. If we don't see a lot of activity, then maybe we kind of just monitor it and wait till next week to make that final decision and see what those populations look like. So the other thing that sometimes we'll do when we know we're going back to the same spot in the field, you actually can take a Sharpie and outline these colonies, and then come back in 3-4 days and see if those colonies have spread outside of those marks. So that's one of the tricks we use in trying to figure out how fast they're spreading at this point of the season. So with that, we'll kind of wrap up. Well, I guess one other thing we wanted to mention was water use. So we get to R3 growth stage, which is milk dough stage. That plant will start to cut down on water use. Now we're still probably, the first part of this week, we're still well above 0.2, probably 0.25 of an inch per day in water use. The end of this week, we're going to probably get to that 0.2 or even lower with 80-degree temps. So some things to start thinking about, cutting back on irrigation a little bit where we're ahead or on schedule. You can start kind of thinking about that. So we'll wrap it up and talk to you next week. Thanks.